my work to sit for as long as possible. If it's just a month, maybe, even a few months would be better. And I call it baking. You put it in the oven, let it cook for a while, and take it out, and you see it. I see it with very different eyes. And at that point, it's ready for my critique groups. I have 2, and I submit it chapter by chapter or section by section there. And so that usually takes about a year to cycle through the critique groups, and that helps me a lot. Points out things that I totally missed, plot holes or something, or well, this isn't logical. Oh gosh, it's not. I didn't realize that.
And that's another question I want to come back to, but before we do, since I cut Alan off, where do you write? What time of day do you write?
I have, as I was just telling Alan this earlier, I have a desk in our dining room kind of up against the wall, and that's the one thing about my house I don't like is I don't have a door. So I have a full-time job. It's sometimes 10 hours a day, more than that. And I've tried writing in the morning. I can't do it. So I get up, I go to work, come home, got 2 kids, a wife, all that life. So sometimes it's 10 or 11 o'clock at night before I start writing. And then maybe an hour, maybe 2 if I'm flowing.
It's changed over time. I used to write in the evening, and in my bad old days, I'd sit down with a 6-pack of beer in the refrigerator, and I would write drinking beer, and you can commonly drink about a 6-pack of beer or so, and do that every night. And I wrote my first 10 or 12 novels that way, and were good novels. Then one day, a little something named pancreatitis came by and told me that I needed to stop.
You switched to cocaine, right?
Yeah, right. It would have been cheaper actually, considering the hospital bills. And so after that, that happened as I was beginning to work on a book, and so I immediately changed the writing methods, and so I switched from the evening to the mornings. And so now what it is that I wake up, as I was saying, I wake up really early, between 5 and 6. My wife works at a radio station, so I send her off to work. I make breakfast for us both, and take care of, we don't have any children, so I take care of the dogs too. And when she's left the house and the dogs are fed and happy and they settle down, I go to work. My office is in a spare bedroom. I've got all my it's perfectly set up. I've got my L-shaped desk, and I've got all my research books in that room, globes and maps and everything else, files, everything I need to get to is within arm's reach. I usually begin work between 8 and 8:30. I don't do it in terms of time. I do it in terms of length. I write between 3 and 5 pages, minimum of 3, maximum of 5. And everybody who I know knows, don't call me at that time. If you get me on the phone, I'm likely to be pretty rude. I'm writing, go away, call me later, bye, click, that type of thing. And I write until I get that done. One trick that I learned is that I will end the scene in my writing, not at the end of the scene, but in the middle of dialogue.
It's easier to pick up.
So it's easier to pick up. You know what's going to come next. And then I leave and go downtown to pick up the mail and go do the chores. And this is what I was about to say. This happens every damn day. Is that I will have gotten the mail and I'll be driving into Northampton, which is the nearest town, to get the groceries or whatever. And I'm halfway there, and the bullshit detector goes off in the head, and I go, oh crap, I didn't mean to say that, I meant to say that, And a couple of times it's been so urgent that I've almost hit the brakes and turned around to drive back to the house.
You know what you're doing tomorrow.
And yeah, well, no, actually what I do is that I pull over on the side of the road and I pull down my notebook and I write down the corrections so I will not forget this thing. In fact, I carry around a little, doing another thing that I do is I carry around a little pocket notebook with a pen. And during the day, during the rest of the day, lines of dialogue or scenes like this will come to my head. And instead of trying to remember, and sometimes there'll be lines of dialogue for like 7 chapters up. But it's like a really good line that come to me, so I'll pull over and I'll scribble that down. Don't try to remember it, you will not be able to remember it. So I write this stuff down, and then when I get home, I pull out, I rip that sheet out of the notebook, and it goes into the big notebook that I'm maintaining for that novel. So it's really kind of cool because you'll be writing the novel and you get to this particular scene. It's like your subconscious is giving you a little present that you open it up and boom, you don't have to struggle for that one little thing. There it is. And that's how I write.
Mary, when and where?
All day, every day, 8 to 6, and I try to get up off in front of the computer every 30 minutes or so because I'm going to grow roots if I don't, and get up and do the laundry, and get up and go to the grocery store and get up the road. I just keep coming back and forth all day, and that keeps me getting hunchback.
Yeah.
I have a very different experience. I have this wonderful room, office, big window looking out, a lush yard, there are birds, there are butterfly bushes, and I never work there. Because I have my dog, and my dog will come in and he will lay next to the desk and just happy to be there with me. Doesn't want anything. After he gets his post-breakfast cookie, he's good. My wife's dog, that she stole from somebody, is about 18, half mostly blind, kind of deaf, incontinent, and sees ghosts that she must bark at constantly. And she's a little long-haired chihuahua, so she's got the yappy voice. And I gave up after 2 hours of constant barking. And there's nothing there. She has stopped, focused on an object about 3 feet in front of her. That, as far as I can tell, is empty air. I ask my dog, "Do you see anything?" He goes, "I don't see anything." And so I take my laptop, and before we moved, before we married, I would take the laptop and I'd walk about a mile from the place I was living to a McDonald's in Chestnut Hill, just outside Philadelphia. And I would sit there for like 6 hours and just write. And I kept saying, one day they're going to put